What if the help you've been giving in your relationship? What if it's the only thing keeping the brokenness alive?
Hmm.
Like, what if your emotional generosity, all that patience you pride yourself on, is actually enabling paralysis,
Yeah.
not growth?
That's a tough question. Welcome, everyone, to a deep dive into a really essential, maybe even painful principle from P.G. Sebastian's work, the gift of a lifetime, wholeness.
Yeah.
We're digging into the core mission of Steps to Forever today, bridging that powerful insight with, real actionable application.
Yeah.
How do we build a relationship that's actually meant for forever?
And it's so critical because today we're unpacking this distinction Sebastian makes between relief and restoration, temporary relief versus radical restoration.
Right.
Because relief feels good, doesn't it? It's like the Tylenol for the marriage headache, quick fix.
Sure dulls the pain for a bit.
Restoration, that's the surgery. And as Sebastian often reminds us, forever should be built with clarity. We have to stop just managing symptoms,
And start healing the actual disease. And Sebastian uses this incredibly powerful analogy to frame it. The story of the man at the temple gate called Beautiful.
Ah, yes. Let's unpack that because honestly, the way Sebastian interprets it, it just changes everything about how we see dependency, even in love.
It really does.
I remember reading PG's notes on this and just having this light bulb moment about how often I lowered my own expectations in life, Here's this man, crippled, completely helpless. Every single day he's carried to this gate, not to worship, not looking for some big change.
No.
Just to beg. His whole world, his ambition, had shrunk down to mere survival. He's asking for lunch money, basically, not for working legs.
And that's the brutal part, isn't
Yeah.
it? Sebastian points out he wasn't seeking transformation, he was just seeking scraps. Survival.
Yeah.
So when Peter and John show up, what does he do? He holds out his hand expecting silver or gold, something transactional,
Yeah.
temporary.
But Peter, wow, he delivers what Sebastian calls the ultimate boundary statement.
He does.
Looks him right in the eye and says, "Silver and gold have I none." Like, I don't have what you think you need, but such as I have, give I thee. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk.
Boom. And what's so fascinating is Sebastian's analysis of the what if. What if Peter had given him the silver?
Right. The man would have been happy. Right. For a moment.
Instantly grateful.
Yeah.
Fed for the day. Absolutely. But, and this is the key, still broken, still dependent, still stuck in that same awful cycle. Wake up, get carried, beg, repeat. Sebastian's point is crystal clear. Healing is always, always greater than just helping. And restoration. It will always outlast simple relief.
That is such a gut punch. But okay, let's push on that a bit. The man is suffering. He is asking for immediate help. How do we justify Peter basically denying him the silver? Doesn't that feel almost cruel in that instant?
Well, that's the core tension, you see. Sebastian would argue Peter's refusal wasn't about withholding something. It was about honoring the man's true potential. He refused to fund the man's paralysis. He refused to give him something that would just keep him stuck at that gate. He offered something infinitely bigger than what was asked for.
And that's the moment we have to face of our own lives and our relationship.
Exactly. Because here's where P.G. Sebastian makes it really personal. He asks us to picture ourselves at our own gates called Beautiful.
Right. In our homes, in our marriages.
Yeah, and we're not begging for coins there, are we? We're begging for emotional alms.
Oh, yeah. Connection. Basic decency. Just pay attention to me. Say something kind. Be loyal. Give me some peace.
These are the relationship equivalents of silver and gold. They feel essential for survival.
And the ways we beg, sometimes they're loud, but often they're so quiet, aren't they? Withdrawal, just enduring, silence, maybe even trying to manipulate things a little. Just hoping, praying maybe that today they'll finally see us, they'll notice the effort, they'll throw us a crumb.
And when they finally do, when they give it even the tiniest bit, a half-hearted apology, maybe a soft touch after days of coldness, perhaps a flattering post on Instagram.
We act like they gave us the world.
Right. We thank them for it. Sebastian calls this the emotional alms trap. We feel full again momentarily. But that hunger, that need, it's back tomorrow morning.
We were fed, not fixed. That's Sebastian's conclusion. By accepting these scraps, we've confused temporary relief with real restoration. We've replaced healing with just a habit, a toxic one.
And we're just managing symptoms, right? Ignoring this much deeper disease.
Yeah.
And that disease, Sebastian's really quick to clarify, it's rarely pure malice. We need to grasp this.
Yeah.
Your partner often isn't behaving badly because they're inherently evil.
Right.
They're behaving badly because they are wounded. They cheat, they lie, they shut down. Not because you're not enough, but because, as Sebastian puts it, their own soul is leaking. They're desperately trying to fill a void that, frankly, you were never meant to fill.
Okay, let's dig into those psychological roots Sebastian outlines. How do these wounds actually manifest as destructive behavior in relationships? Let's take lying, for example.
Sebastian often connects lying straight back to childhood experiences.
Mm.
For a lot of people, somewhere along the way, telling the truth got them punished. Or maybe being vulnerable got them mocked or shamed.
Oh, okay.
So what did they learn? Secrecy is safer. Shame became normal. And now, as adults, their default is protection through, well, hiding the truth. They're not necessarily lying to you specifically. They're lying for survival based on old programming. They expect punishment if the whole truth comes out.
Wow. Okay, that makes the other behaviors sort of click into place too. What about things like stonewalling or being overly controlling?
Well, think about control. If your childhood was chaotic, unpredictable, maybe even abusive, then trying to control everything and everyone around you can become this, false source of comfort. Dominance feels safer than chaos.
Makes sense.
And stonewalling. Often that's a trauma response too. Vulnerability feels terrifyingly overwhelming, maybe weak. So the safest thing feels like shutting down completely. Protect yourself from exposure.
So the core problem, the really agonizing thing, according to PG Sebastian, is they can't actually give you peace or love you better.
Because they don't know how. They don't even know how to love themselves properly yet. They're operating from a place of deficit.
Okay, this is where we need to pause and talk directly to you listening right now. If any of this is sounding familiar, if you recognize this pattern, Sebastian poses a really sharp, maybe painful question.
Yeah. Why are you still there?
Ew.
And he really challenges the labels we sometimes give ourselves to cope. Like, maybe you tell yourself you're being patient, but are you? Or are you just afraid of being alone?
Or maybe you think you're being strong, but actually you're just stuck in a pattern. Maybe what Sebastian calls traumatic loyalty to someone who unconsciously reminds you of a parent who, never quite loved you enough.
It's hard truth. You might be throwing emotional silver at someone who needs deep, deep psychological healing they aren't pursuing.
Okay, but let's introduce some necessary tension here, because it sounds a bit like Sebastian is just saying, hey, the minute you realize your partner's broken, just leave. How do we tell the difference between having reasonable patience for a normal, flawed human
Right.
and actively, like you said, funding their paralysis? Where's that line?
That really is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Sebastian draws a clear line. Patience endures a bad day, maybe a mistake, a rough patch. Paralysis endures a fundamentally dysfunctional identity that refuses to change.
Okay.
And then Sebastian just flips the whole script. He says, sometimes the reason they aren't healing is precisely because you keep feeding them that silver. Your help is actually enabling the cycle.
Wow. So you are strengthening the gate instead of helping tear it down.
Exactly. Every time you let it go without real accountability, every time you let them back in without demanding authentic change, every time you maybe sleep with them right after a betrayal to feel close again.
Or cover their lies with your silence.
Or accept those breadcrumbs because you're afraid of rocking the boat.
Yeah.
You are feeding the paralysis. You're reinforcing the dysfunction.
And making it normal.
You are. So Sebastian forces us to choose. Are you just giving them temporary coins? Or are you enabling their innate, God-given potential to actually rise and walk on their own? Are you trying to manage this relationship, or are you trying to restore it?
Okay, that brings us to the practical side. What's the real observable difference between management and restoration? Let's say in a relationship where there's constant fighting.
Good example. Management, as Sebastian teaches, is symptom control, patching the holes in the leaky boat.
Okay.
So if you're always fighting about dishes or money, management is things like teaching them to use I feel statements, or maybe setting rules like no shouting. It might bring temporary peace.
It keeps you fed, like you said. On relief, you survive the day.
Exactly. You survive. But restoration, that goes way deeper. That's about building a whole new boat.
Right.
It's not just asking them to stop shouting. It's about exploring why they shout. Where does that rage come from? Facing the childhood stuff, maybe, that makes any confrontation feel like life or death.
Facing the void, as he calls it, that drives their need for control or maybe their addiction to avoidance.
Yes. Management is surface level. Restoration requires, well, real work. Spiritual and emotional surgery sometimes. But that's what sets you both free in the long run.
So if we connect this back to Peter at the gate, His refusal to give silver wasn't him being stingy or limited. Sebastian defines that refusal as something powerful.
He calls it a boundary of wholeness.
A boundary of wholeness. I like that.
Peter was essentially saying, look, I refuse to give you the very thing that keeps you stuck here. I won't fund your survival mode while completely ignoring your deep suffering and potential.
Wow. And that's the boundary statement we might need to learn.
That's the line the listener has to consider drawing.
Yeah.
We have to stop handing out these emotional coins, this temporary relief, to people who consistently refuse to rise, who refuse to do the work.
We have to stop praying for just cosmetic changes, hoping they'll just be a little nicer.
Exactly. When what they really need is deep psychological and spiritual healing, and crucially, they have to be willing to embark on that journey themselves.
Sebastian reminds us, doesn't he, that some wounds just can't be touched with small gestures. Some relationships aren't failing because people are evil.
No, often it's because they are simply broken and maybe unwilling or unable to admit it and seek real help.
But the result of true healing, when it happens, PG Sebastian says it's dramatic, it's unmistakable.
Absolutely. The healed man doesn't just mumble thanks, he leaps. He praises. He becomes the miracle himself. And this is critical. He never goes back to that gate.
He assumes his restored dignity. He walks away.
Yes.
So maybe it is time for you to rise, not because someone else pulled you up or gave you permission, but because you finally remembered what PG Sebastian wrote. You were never created to live on the floor of someone else's neglect.
Wow.
Now go and walk.
This deep dive into PG Sebastian's philosophy, it really is just a starting point, isn't it? There's so much more there.
Absolutely. To really explore the mission and vision, to get credible guidance on building your relationship toward forever, definitely check out the resources. They're available through the Steps to Forever Knowledge Center platform.
Because that path to real healing, it starts with clarity. And as we always say, forever should be built with clarity.